Right now, Mosaic Forestry Management, Western Canada's largest forestry company, is planning to log the steep slopes directly behind the homes of Youbou families. Youbou is a small town located on southern Vancouver Island in the Cowichan Valley, 1 hour and 20 minutes drive from Victoria. Our watershed is on private property. Mosaic owns it. Logging puts streams and creeks at risk of redirection and disruption. The increase in debris and soil interferes with critical fish habitat.
Yeah, we're just here on Mosaic property. I don't know, maybe they'll say we're trespassing, I'm not sure, but they've got a small riparian zone here. You'll notice where the ribbons are along the side of the riparian zone. You can see that they come in as close as the big trees. Wherever the big trees end, that's where the riparian zone seems to start. Doesn't matter, it's supposed to be 15 meters, but as you see, that one ribbon is not 15 meters from the creek there. It looks like it's about 15 feet. On the other side of the road here, we've got all big timber. Some of it could even be old growth. We don't know. We haven't checked to see how old it is, but there's zero riparian zone because of all the big trees. Most of the big trees are right in the riparian zone. They start running equipment over this, it's just going to create the highway will end up getting washed out down here. In fact, they're down below here, about 100 feet up from the highway. There's already a landslide that happened this past spring. This is a riparian zone. All the big trees are in the middle of it, and they don't want to recognize that it's a riparian zone because of the big trees. That's all they want. Those are the ones that were left last time when they did have logging rules.
It's just they have to take extra precautions because there's a water intake here. But if they log through here, this will just wash out. There'll be no vegetation in here.
No, zero. And all the gravel and everything will end up down at the highway, and then the culverts of the highway can get plugged and the highway get washed out. It's already happening. The highway's closed down here a couple times a year, every year. Because of the gravel moving down just by Dave's place. Yep. We'll see that we'll be able to see that when we get them. The reason that they don't want to selective log, because their shareholders don't make enough money, it's just not feasible for them. Even though they could be back here in 10 years logging it again, they don't feel it's a feasible thing to do. They got to hire more people. It takes a little bit longer. The moisture, you can see how much moisture is in the ground here. They start running around there with a faller buncher. They're just going to disrupt the whole ground, and the water all the soil that's there will all wash into this draw and end up down and by the highway. I mean, you can see the water. There's just a little trickle of water there, right? That's the only water that's above ground because they broke it there, right? That water would have never come to the surface. It would all ran underground.
And who's going to pay for the gravel and stuff that washes up on the...
We do all the time. We do every year. It doesn't matter where it is. We pay for it.
Yeah,
the other side of the lake, the water got so bad that they had to drill wells over there. Now everybody's on municipal water. They got wells drilled, and they had to drill another one a couple of years ago because the one well dried up. So it's just the taxpayer pays all the time. How close the water runs are here? I mean, we just walked 50 feet. Here's another. Now here's water running. So and there's look where the riparian zone is right there. This is a water intake right here for somebody as well, right here. So they log the top of this hill. Guarantee you these guys will run out of water. Guaranteed. See, this is another one that was brought to surface. It was all underground. Okay? See all the moss on the rocks and everything. It didn't disturb any higher. It was all underground, just creeping along. But no, they brought it to the surface here, right?
Look at how many culverts are on this road.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows you how much water there is
coming
in the winter time.
the whole hillside.
Yeah.
You look down in here, the size of some of those trees. The last time that they logged, when they did have rules, they didn't let them log those trees because they're in a riparian zone. This time they want. I mean, you look at the ground right here. There's another culvert right here. That's because there's water. So I don't know what their classification is of a riparian zone, but it's not the same as what I'm used to. A lot of this stuff goes into the lake by springs. I've got pictures of when there was a bloom in the lake, and you can clearly see that there are a lot of springs that come into the lake from this hillside because there's not a whole bunch of water that runs across the highway. It mainly goes underground and goes in through springs. But once they cut all this and run all over the hillside here with equipment, that's going to bring all the water to the surface. Then we will have a water issue on the highway because everything will be washed out. It won't be running underground. It'll be running on surface. They want to cut road through coming from Meade Creek. That's one of the main springs. Spring Beach is down at the end of the north arm here. And the water's so cold coming into the lake there, you can barely stand by it in the middle of the summer. And there's a possibility that could be brought to surface too, just like a lot of this other stuff was, in exactly the same way. And that's a spring that's major to the fish that spawn in the lake here. We've got kokanee, and this end of the lake has more kokanee than any other part of the lake. They did a study about 10 years ago, and it said that this part of the lake had the most kokanee in it. And the reason I believe the reason is because of the springs that come into the lake.
They still obligated to protect it if it's an underground?
No, because it's not visible. That's why they want to do it in the summertime.
Okay.
That's exactly why they want to do it in the summertime.
Kind of deceitful.
Well, it is, but see, we used to have bodies that went out and went out with the logging companies and said, no, you can't get that close there. That's why these big trees that are here, you look at the size of that one fir over there. That's it's probably 4 feet through. It's probably classified as an old growth. And as far as I'm concerned, that's all they're looking for in here is all that nice timber. So if that's what they're mainly looking for, I say that they should bring a tower in here and they should be pulling the wood in. They shouldn't be running excavators down the hillside. It should all be hand falling and pulled in the way it used to be. Another option besides tower logging with a tower is helicopter logging, but they don't want to do that because their shareholders aren't going to make a big a profit if they helicopter log it, but that's the way they should log it, personally. That's the trees I want. One of the watersheds that supplies the water for all the people down the Meade Creek straight stretch down here. They want to put a culvert in here. They dig the whole side hill out here and put a culvert in the back there. And the next draw over is also involved in the Meade Creek people's watershed because the two of them join together down where they have their water intake. So right. and they want to log all this right in this whole triangle here. So there's a good possibility that they'll lose their water. Once the water's gone, you're not going to get it back, right? You're just not going to get it back.
No.
Not in our lifetime. Maybe in a few lifetimes you'll get it back, but you won't get it back in this lifetime. Should just be flash floods, just like all these creeks that we've been mentioning as we went past that are just flash flooding. You can see they're just washed out, and that's exactly the way this one will be, is just washed out. You've got two draws, this draw and the next draw, or their water here, all the people at the end of the straight stretch. Then I don't know if it's the next draw over or two draws over, and you've got the Spring Beach spring, which if they cut through that draw, well, you got the possibility of bringing in Spring Beach water. So we're affecting all. They don't think that they're affecting the fish in the lake. They are affecting the fish in the lake. You're taking all these springs that they're going to bring to the surface. All of a sudden you have no more springs coming up in this end of the lake, and well, where are the kokanee going to spawn then? So it is a big issue. Well, cold water stops the bacteria from growing too. When there is a bloom in the lake, they go. That's their escape for fresh water is the spring water. You look at the creek right here. See how it's washed out. They logged on the very top here about 11 years ago, and this is what's created this. Apparently, it's Hancock that owns that.
This might even be the little creek that goes behind my place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this probably is.
Because it used to run like 5 months a year. Now it flash floods for 3-4 days, washes gravel down, and floods the road. Department of Highways, they take 2-3 loads of gravel out right beside the highway every year.
The water used to go across the highway right here. It
Okay.
used to run this way. Now it runs all the way down the highway and across. They put a culvert in across the highway down there. And now it just floods that guy's property out. That lives on the right-hand side. Floods his property out and then goes through the forest that's supposed to be a historical forest. And then down through a guy's yard he just spent Lord knows how much money. He had to put in about 100 of those big cement blocks.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where this water goes. It goes down that creek, all the way down there, across the road, through that historical forest, and then down across his property. He's supposed to look after that. CBRD wouldn't do nothing.
Last night, where they showed us the 3-year plan, and someone asked, do you have a 10-year plan? And Pam Jorgen said, yes, we do. This isn't the last time you'll hear from us. Not the last time you'll hear from Save Our Homes.